Once again, it's on, people. This is the Relationship Rehab. I am Brian Redmond, and I'm coming with another segment for the Cheater series. And this one is called What to Do When He or She is Cheating or Has Cheated, like in the relationship. So, I got like 3 points today that I'm going to talk about. And like I said, of course, as always, this isn't like the end all to be all to all of the answers, but these are definitely some points that can help you in your relationship when it comes to infidelity or those overly flirtatious moments that you may have in your relationship. So first and foremost, one of the things that I have learned about cheating and feedback that I've gotten from others who've been in relationships where they either cheated or have been cheated on, it kind of ties me back to this particular point, which is cheating needs to be discussed at the beginning of the relationship. And what I mean by that is it's not a thing of saying, well, are we gonna cheat or not? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to discuss cheating because a lot of us, we have been in relationships and some of us have been cheated on. Some of us have not been cheated on, and some of us, are still wounded from that. And some of us, don't know how to necessarily handle it. So what I mean by discussing it in the beginning of the relationship, define what cheating is to you. Some people may think cheating may be saying hello. You might have a jealous partner and they might say hello to the wrong person or hey to the wrong person. And that could just send that other person, off into a spiral of saying, this person is cheating on me. My God, already. It's been 2 weeks and all he said was hello. But you need to discuss that in the beginning just so that you know what that level is for that person, okay? I'm a true and firm believer in the fact that it is your mate's or your partner's responsibility to keep you assured of that this person, that they are not cheating. And it could just be a simple thing as far as just saying, well, hey, I want you to, introduce me to all of the people that you know when we out. So if me and my wife were out somewhere and I run into an old friend, male or female, whatever the case may be, I always make sure that I introduce my wife, even though she probably doesn't know the person, but I introduce them. I've seen personally some couples where they won't do that. They will just let their wife or let their husband just be off to the side and won't say a thing. And it's like, how do you not acknowledge that person, you know what I'm saying, when that person, wants to be acknowledged? And the reason why I do that is because it's something that I want done. It's like, I don't want some old dude that my wife, used to go to grammar school with, like, hey, baby, and come up and hey, and hugging and all that stuff. And I'm just standing like, okay, who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it has to be some type of understanding that you have, and not to say that that person is cheating with that person if they don't introduce you, but it's just that acknowledgement piece of saying that who you are to that person or in that person's life. So that in itself needs to be discussed. It's like those are the type of things that establish the parameters so that that man or that woman knows how far they can go or should go before things get uncomfortable for their partner, and that always goes back to a level of just the love and respect that you have for the person that you're with. It shouldn't be something that should be very difficult to do. So what is considered cheating? That definitely needs to be discussed. Another big one, and this is something that I think we don't do as well, is we don't establish when flirting becomes cheating. So it's like if you were with somebody, you're with your partner, and let's say, for instance, you could be in a room or at a party or something like that, and you are with, other adults, and you guys are just talking. You could say something that may come out the wrong way, or that may come out in a sexual way, or maybe, something that kind of is misleading to somebody or to your partner, to where they may think that you may have something going on with this person when you actually don't. And it's just something to where that flirting part that you may have, or that flirting thing that you may, be saying or have said, could be something that could definitely, get the wheel spinning in your partner's mind. So it's like I can give you an example. You're in a party, and let's say you turn around and you say, hey, baby, and your wife answers, and maybe 2 other girls answer. And it could just be something as simple as them just being used to being called baby, that they respond to it. But it's not necessarily that you're calling them baby that makes them respond. It's just the fact that they heard that and they turn around and they look and say yes. and don't know that it was you that was calling them, and it was, you know, just that's why they responded, because they heard baby, not the fact that you called them baby. And that could be something to where your mate could be like, well, why in the hell is she responding to my husband saying baby? That's only, he called me baby. Really? It's like everybody calls their baby at some point in time. So it's like, that's something that, you know, you should definitely have established to say, well, hey, you know, it's something that I use, you know, loosely, and somebody may respond to it, but that doesn't mean that there's something going on because, you know, this person turned around and responded to me calling them baby. And that's just a quick example. Point number 2, what kind of cheating that has taken place? So I've kind of like summed this up into like basically kind of like 2 different forms of cheating. You have intentional cheating, which is just basically that person that is just like, hey, I have an opportunity to be with this person and I'm gonna do it. This person looks good, this person smells good, whatever the case may be, I'm just attracted to this person. I may have history with this person, and this is something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do him, or I'm gonna do her, she gonna do me, whatever the case may be, because that opportunity is there. Now you have the intention of actually going through and being with that person. That's intentional cheating. The other part I would say would be irresponsible cheating. And not that one is lesser than the other, but when you have irresponsible cheating, that could be due to a couple of different things. It could be due to poor decision making that leads to you cheating. So putting yourself in a situation that may make you or that may be a situation that's weakening for you, that puts you in a vulnerable position, that could be irresponsible on your part to put yourself in that position to where you do wind up cheating. Being irresponsible with drugs, being irresponsible with alcohol or something like that. It's like sometimes I've heard this so many times that, oh, I was drunk, that's why I didn't know that I was doing it, but I was drunk, I'm so sorry. It's like, if you know you drink and you know that you drink too much, then you should never be drinking with somebody you shouldn't be drinking with somebody where it's just you and that person alone, because there's no telling what could happen because you don't handle your liquor well. So it's like that's being the irresponsible cheater, and that puts you in a bad situation or puts you in a bad position. And it's like, if that's something that it doesn't give you an excuse, and it's like I've heard that several times from men and women that says, man, dog, I got drunk and I didn't know what I was doing and I did it. Yeah, well, you still have to assume responsibility for that, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't put yourself in a position to where you're vulnerable like that, or to where you're not 100% yourself to where you can make the correct decisions you need to make. So don't get high and don't get drunk around people that you don't need to be around, because it's going to put you in a bad situation like that. And that's pretty much the 2 different types of cheating. So I think we kind of established the whole reason as to what is cheating, when flirting becomes cheating, the type of cheating that's done. And now I guess the real nitty gritty of it is like, what happens after all of that? So you've caught this person has confessed. Whatever the case may be, you went on Cheaters and they ran up with the cameras and they saw you and they're like, yeah, you right there, I caught you with her. Or, yeah, babe, what you doing with this dude? And it's like, well, you ain't never home, that's why. I'm working 16 hours, why you with this dude? He's here for me, but he ain't got a job. It's like, those are the things that you already established and you figured it out. So now, after the initial explosion, everything is blown up, now you have to come to the parts where you have to make some really important decisions. And these decisions are not something that where I'm going to say are necessarily a bad or a good one. The consequences of cheating. First and foremost, it's always 2 people that are involved. The person that's cheating and the person, well, really 3 people almost. The person that's cheating, the person that's cheating with the other person, and the person that's in a relationship that's on the side or that's with that other person. So it's like, and sometimes it could be 4, because that person could be with somebody. So once you've gotten that established as to this is what has happened in our relationship, this person is cheated, this person has just been unfaithful to be with this other person, now you have to come to the realization as to say, where do we go from here? And it's going to be really 2 things that you're going to do. You're either going to say, well, hey, you cheating was a deal breaker and I'm done. Or you can say, this is a rehab. Ooh, did you see how you brought that in? This is a rehab opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to tear down what was broken and what was wrong in our relationship and to build it back up and to strengthen it the right way. Now, do not get caught up in the mentality of saying if somebody cheated, then it's over and you got to leave, girl. You got to leave him alone. He ain't no good. Go ahead, move on with your life. Or the dude said, yeah, man, she ain't nothing, man. She wasn't no good. I ain't never like her when you first started dating her. The reason why I say don't do that right off the bat is because a lot of times that initial emotion and hurt and pain that you go through will have you make a decision that later on in life you could possibly forgive that person for. At the end of the day, cheating, being unfaithful to somebody, it's a bad thing and it's painful, but at the end of the day, it could just be a simple mistake. It could be a lapse in judgment. It could just be for other reasons that are possibly forgivable. And a lot of times people don't necessarily admit it or talk about it, but a lot of times that happens where people can move past it. People can say, you know what, you cheated and you hurt me and you know it's really devastating, but I love you enough to where I'm willing to work on this if you're willing to work on this. Now, cheating should not become a behavior. It should just be something that has happened. It shouldn't be a normal practice to where every 6 months you right back at the rehab stage. If you at that point, then that's something where you need to decide on if this is healthy enough, is this a healthy relationship for you? And you need to establish to say, hey, if this happens again, this is a deal breaker. Or you can even establish that in the beginning, which is why I said talk about it in the beginning. If this happens in this relationship because of things that I've dealt with and the way that I feel about relationships, if you cheat on me, it's over. Plain and simple. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. But I did want to acknowledge the reality of the fact that there are a lot of couples that have infidelity issues where their mate or their spouse or their partner, whatever, has cheated and they're able to work through that. So I wouldn't dare be foolish enough to just say dismiss that and say, no, that's it. If you cheat, she gone. If he cheat, you gone, whatever the case may be. Don't do that. So establish those things in the beginning so if it does happen, you all have some type of guidelines and some type of plan to follow to say, well, hey, this is something that we talked about early on, and if this was to happen, we would try this. If you can't get over it, if you can't forgive that person 100% and move on, then you know what it is and you know what you got to do. So that's pretty much it. I hope that this has helped somebody become a better version of themselves. I hope that you like this. If you did, there's a thumbs up on there. You just hit that little number, you click on it, say click up. Do that for me, please. If you really love this video and you love this series, forward it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. I need subscriptions, people. Go down to the corner there and say, hey, I'm gonna subscribe and I'm gonna become a part of the Relationship Rehab family. We need y'all. I just hope that this helps somebody, and I want you guys to just, hey, keep this message going. If there's something that you see that I can do better, let me know. I don't mind taking some criticism and some critiquing if you are a subscriber. Don't just be clicking on my stuff and then moving on in your life and just leave me hanging and critique and just feeling sad. I don't want to do that. So subscribe, like, share. As always, I love you guys, and I hope that this makes somebody become a better version of themselves. I'm Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab, and I'm out.